Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is our Premier League team of the weekend. 11 best players we have selected from the Premier League match day 4. In the comment box below, let me know who was your player of the weekend and what was your best 11 in this weekend of action as well. Now, I've gone with a 3-4-3. It was a crazy weekend, lots of hat-tricks, lots of goals, and lots of very, very good performances. But here are my standout 11. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Right. So in goal, I've gone with Jordan Pickford, Everton. I've dropped Matt Turner. He deserves a shout out, by the way. Matt Turner, he really, really deserves one. But I've gone with Jordan Pickford because he finally, in the 90th minute, in the dying days of the game, he actually picks up a point for Everton. In my opinion, if it's not for Pickford, Everton do not get a point against Sheffield United. They just don't. Now, it's a game where I anticipated them to win. My prediction was Everton 2, Sheffield United 1. They went ahead. They played a little bit well for like 10 minutes or maybe 15. After that, it was all about Sheffield United. And we'll talk about Cameron Archer because in this game, he was absolutely magnificent. But Jordan Pickford, why I've gone with him over Matana, when a goalkeeper actually saves the the game on the cusp of full time, he deserves massive credit. He really, really does deserve massive credit. So Jordan Pickford in goal over Matana. But Matana, I liked his performance against Chelsea, and I think Nottingham Forest have done a good signing there. They've really done a very good signing in Matana. Now, I played a back three. I wanted to play back four, but there were so many midfielders in the last weekend, so I decided to shift to a back three, right? And in my back three, I've played Joe Worrell at Nottingham Forest. They kept a clean sheet against Chelsea. That is number one. Like, literally, that is one of the things you don't see every single day. A team like Nottingham Forest going to the Stamford Bridge and picking up 3 points, scoring once, and just making sure that they will not concede. It just doesn't happen like that. It just doesn't come, by chance. They played well, Nottingham Forest. They were compact. They were disciplined. They were massively organized. And I like Joe Worrell. I really like, Willy Bolly. I like McKenna as well. You could go with anyone. You could go with all the three at the back line of Nottingham Forest, and you would still be all right, okay? But I've gone with Joe Worrell. I think his performance was outstanding. And although there are massive problems at Chelsea, Mauricio Pochettino will be looking at that team and will be going, Nottingham Forest were more organized than us, and Nottingham Forest were actually the better side. The other two centre-backs I've gone for, the other centre-back is Mark Gehi. This one was at Crystal Palace. Obviously, he's the captain. And Crystal Palace did beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-2. It was a tough game. It was a tight game. And Crystal Palace eventually needed that win. They needed that point booster. They needed something to start their season, and they did. But Mark Gehi in that game, like, the fact that he's their captain, and the fact that he's one of the best, defenders in the Premier League is just not enough. Like, we don't talk about it enough. He's just 22, and he's one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League already. Now, yes, they were playing Wolverhampton Wanderers, and maybe Wolverhampton Wanderers don't have that kind of attack, but you didn't watch that game. If you did watch that game, they were a whisker. They were a whisker away from drawing that game. But Mark Gehi, his leadership, his dominance, his ability, his physicality, I love him. I'll take him at Arsenal every single day. I'll definitely do that. Okay, just to complete our back three, I've gone with Kat Zuma at West Ham. This one we might agree because some of you had him in your FPL teams. Zuma is one of the underrated defenders in the Premier League. Now, I'm not saying he's at the levels of Ruben Diaz. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that he could play in any team, in any system. Like Man United right now, with all the injuries they have, with the defensive shambles they are suffering, Kat Zuma could actually walk into that team. I don't know if I'm right. So Katsuma, a goal just to win it for West Ham, 2-1 against Luton Town away from home. What I liked about West Ham generally as a team, and we'll talk about this when we get to the review. West Ham play with purpose. West Ham are very precise. They don't waste time, and now they have players like James Ward-Prowse. If it's a set piece, they will deliver it into the dangerous area, and they will try to get on the end of it. The header from Zuma is typical defender. It's a typical Premier League experienced defender header, and the fact that it wins it, it's just marvelous. Now, West Ham are among the top 4. This was a team that we were talking about relegation last campaign. So that is my back 3: Joe Worrell in there, McGahey and Zuma, Pickford in goal. In midfield, I've gone with Trent Alexander-Arnold at right midfield. I've not played him at right back because I kind of felt like the role he was given against Aston Villa was there. So let us give him Trent Alexander-Arnold at right midfield. This is his best game in a long time. He will go back and he will love this performance. He will go back and he will actually appreciate this performance. It's one of those performances where you don't score, a performance where you do not actually do all this fancy stuff, but you're the best player on the pitch. You could see him. He was the captain, first and foremost, captaining that Liverpool side against Aston Villa. Never easy. Never easy. And listen, Villa are in fire. They're on fire. They've been doing very well. Their attack is elite. Their attack is good. But not one single time did Trent Alexander-Arnold put a foot wrong in that game. And the way he was given that kind of freedom in midfield just to find the run of Salah and Darwin Núñez, he did it again and again and again and again. And you want him to be at those levels. You want him to be at those standards. I was talking to one of my friends here, and I told him if he plays like that, if Trent plays like that, definitely they've got a player there at Liverpool, right? So I put him in my midfield there. I wouldn't really dare to put him at right back. I know the problems he has as a player. Part of that midfield still is Song Hyun Min. I mean, this is a difficult name for me. I really struggle with it. But I played him at left midfield. So let's go with Son Hyun Min at left midfield. And I think Spurs are lucky, aren't they? Spurs are very lucky to have him. Now, he's had a slow start to the campaign, and I would definitely say Son is one of the players that we thought and I thought are finished for this campaign. He doesn't have the speed anymore. He's their captain, by the way. That is actually very that is very important. He's their captain. He's kind of slowed down from the Son we know, running up and down, running the midfield here and there. But there is one thing we have to agree with, about this guy. Under Ange Postecoglou, he's going to be among the most important players at Tottenham Hotspur. So I've gone with Son and Trent Alexander-Arnold in my wet positions. In midfield, in the 2 midfield positions, I've gone with Yates at Forest. I love Yates. I really do. And apart, I think from Joe Palhinha, the next defensive midfielder outside the top 6 that I like the most is Yates. When Arsenal played Nottingham Forest, I talked about it. I talked about Ryan Yates, and I said this guy bowled the midfield. Of course, Arsenal fans don't want to hear it. But Chelsea fans will be looking at another person they can buy. Chelsea fans will be looking at another player to add to their midfield. Maybe you could splash money on Yates. So Moises Caicedo is a £100 million signing. Yates on the other side it's a no-brainer. Nottingham Forest cannot spend £100 million on one player. But Yates bowled that midfield. Chelsea, surprisingly, forced one save out of Matana. One save out of Matana. He made 2 saves. I think one was not that serious, and 1 save inside the penalty area. Yates is a player every Premier League side without a good defensive midfielder should be looking at, apart from Nottingham Forest. He's unbelievable. This season, this campaign, the way he has started, if he continues on that trajectory, I'm sorry, Nottingham Forest will be a low destination point for him. To complete the midfield, guys, let's go with Cameron Archer at Sheffield United. What a performance. A double. It was kind of a double, but of course, eventually it wasn't a double because the second strike hits the post, and then it hits on the back of Pickford, and then it goes in. But Cameron Archer, I hope I get this one because I want him to be in this one. I want him to be in this team. Cameron Archer, absolute gem. There we are. We have him, right? We have him. So Cameron Archer from Aston Villa to Sheffield United. They've got to love him. They are going to love him, right? And why they are going to love him is he's a player that is so decisive and very quick when it comes to decision making. He's one of those players I've looked at on the pitch and I'm like, go on, son. This is your final destination. He did very well. He absolutely bowled against Everton. For him to score those two, it means that he won the point for Sheffield United. But again, for him to just be brave, you look at the second goal, the quality, he's far away, it's outside the penalty area, and he just believes in himself. He takes it on, and the rest is history. Cameron Archer, Yates, Huminson, and Trent Alexander-Arnold complete my midfield. The three up top, a no-brainer. Erling Haaland scored a hat-trick. Ferguson scored a hat-trick. And Hudson Edward scored a brace. Now, I thought about Eberechi Eze. Okay, Eberechi Eze. That's the name. I thought about Eze because Eze is such a player. He's such an important player for Crystal Palace. And if they're going to do anything this campaign, it has to have the endorsement, the clear endorsement of Eberechi Eze. Like, he's their most important player this campaign. He's their most important player in the next 5 years to come, unless they sell him. And what a transfer window they had, because the £100 million signing they made was keeping Eberechi Eze on that team. So let's get to the front three, which is actually very easy. A hat-trick for Haaland against Fulham. This guy just doesn't seem to end amusing us. This season, you kind of feel like he might actually go slow. You kind of feel like it might be a hard season for him. But with the introduction of Matthias Nunes, Jeremy Doku, Mateo Kovacic, and Julian Alvarez and Foden cooking, I'm sorry, there is no stopping Man City, but there is no stopping my FPL captain this campaign, Erling Haaland. I'm just sorry. I mean, the condolences should be there by then. Okay, Haaland, no words to explain him, but we must have words to explain this guy, okay? We must have words to explain Ferguson. And I want your thoughts in the comment box below. What you think about Ferguson? What you think about this boy? Because Brighton are going to sell him for 150 million plus, we know. So that is not a point of debate. The point of debate is he one of the best strikers in the Premier League as we speak? A hat-trick against Newcastle. A hat-trick against... if it's a hat-trick against Luton, a hat-trick against Sheffield, everybody would go, wow, the boy is developing well. Have you seen what he's done? But against Newcastle, you just can't dispute that. He's one of the best Premier League finishers. He's one of the top finishers in the Premier League. To finish off the front three, let's go with Hudson Edward. Now, this one is a very difficult name, especially with the way he writes it. Hudson Edward scored a brace against Wolverhampton Wanderers to make sure that Crystal Palace walk away with 3 points. My problem with Hudson Edward has always been very, very easy. Edward is a quality player, and I at some point in time I wanted him at Arsenal. Like, there's no question there. I wanted him at Arsenal at some point in time. I wanted him to become our next kind of Adebayo. And I don't think I was wrong. I really, really don't think I was wrong. For him to score that brace against Wolverhampton Wanderers, for them to win 3-2 in the end, this could kickstart his season. But this could also kickstart Crystal Palace's season. Of course, they're never going to go down. We know that. Like, it's one of the things that I never heard of. Like, there are things you don't hear, you don't think about. Crystal Palace going down, right? They might have a hard season here and there, but going down, it is known in their DNA. It is known. It's not one of the things they think about. It's not one of the things they even rehearse for. But Edward, I like the performance. Him and Eze, the combination, the way they combined up the pitch, it was absolutely magnificent. So I've gone with that. Apart from Son, who I failed to find in my in my editor, I've gone with Pickford, Worrell, Zuma, Gehi, Archer, Yates, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Oton Edward, Erling Haaland, Ferguson, and Son Heung-min. That is my best 11. If I was to give out a few shout-outs, Rice at Arsenal deserves a huge shout-out. Massive performance, like to win it late. Diogo Dalot at Manchester United, good performance. If they get a point, he deserves it. It definitely gets into this team. But because they throw it away and kind of embarrasses himself at the end, I'm sorry. I just can't take a disgrace in my team. But again, it's another big shout. A really, really a big shout. I think another big shout was Joao Pedro at Brighton and Billy Gilmore at Brighton as well. Played very, very well. And a couple of other good performances. The manager for this one, who should we go for? Let's go with Mikel Arteta. He eventually wins it late, right? He eventually wins it. I thought about Dizabi. I thought about Steven Cooper. But with Manchester United almost winning it, and the last 10 minutes, Arsenal literally make it another game, I've gone with Mikel Arteta, team of the weekend. Of course, we're going to have these debates every single Monday. Make sure you watch out for them.